Hello Vavers, you're watching YouTube channel USA News Alert. Breaking. Ilhan Omar lays out her plan for an overhaul of our foreign policy. Somali-born Minnesota Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar claims to want to have a conversation and work with anyone to find a compromise, at a May 20th dinner on Capitol Hill, all in pursuit of overhauling current foreign policy. The Muslim lawmaker said she believes she brings the perspective of a foreigner to her new role. And while her family took refuge in the United States, she believes that American foreign policy needs to be changed in fundamental ways. According to the Star Tribune. When I think about foreign policy, we need something equivalent to the Green New Deal, Omar said in an interview. The lawmaker appeared to be making a parallel between her ideals on foreign policy to the controversial plan to overhaul environmental policy plan from New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's important for me to think about what an overhaul of our foreign policy should look like from the standpoint of really thinking how it impacts those around the world, and where our values intersect with what's happening, Omar said. We spend a lot of money in engaging unwinnable wars, and I don't think it matches with the values of trying to create prosperity in the United States. Vice President Mike Pence said in a Fox News interview earlier this month that doesn't know what she's talking about following her criticism of the administration's hawkish stance on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, according to the Tribune, and President Donald Trump has made similar remarks when Omar downplayed the 9/11 terrorist attacks. However, the Minnesota Democrat's dedication to her cause of policy reform might be put to the test over an issue that Omar claims to be passionate about. Omar proposed a bill this month. Legislation would hold the tiny, wealthy country of Brunei accountable for a newly instated penal code that requires death by stoning for extramarital sex and anal sex, amputation of limbs for stealing, and 40 lashes with a whip for lesbian sex. Abortion is also criminalized, according to the Tribune. Another lawmaker who has taken exception to Brunei's code is Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who has previously vocally disagreed with the Minnesota Democrat. However, Cruz has reached across the aisle and asked to work with Omar Cruz on the Brunei effort. Omar replied to the olive branch by criticizing Cruz harshly but didn't rule out the possibility of a collaboration. The sort of perspective and lens that I have is very much different than the perspective and lens that drives someone like Ted Cruz. I don't think he's driven by interests of furthering human rights. I think he's got a more sinister agenda, Omar said. But there are issues around foreign policy that are nonpartisan, bipartisan issues, and some that aren't. I think for me, I'm willing to have a conversation and work with anyone to find a compromise. Cruz's office provided this statement from a spokesman. One of the things you learn when you spend more than a few months in Congress is that very often people do the same things for different reasons. Sen. Cruz looks forward to working with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to hold Brunei's leaders accountable if they move forward with these horrifying measures.